Good evening, old gun guy here. It's only 5 o'clock at night, but it's pitch black already. It feels like midnight. Um, Today's video, I'm going to cover the 45 Colt cartridge and this Marlin 1894 Cowboy Competition. I've got this probably 20 years. It was only made for a few years towards the end of the original Marlin Company's operation. But I'll go into the rifle in a minute. I'll go over the cartridge first. The 45 Colt developed in 1872 by Colt and the Union Metallic Cartridge Company. Developed the 45 Colt for the United States Army. Was looking for a pistol with a metallic cartridge, and they kind of hit a home run. It was a very good cartridge. It was adopted by the U.S. Army in 1873 in the Colt Single Action Army. Basically, this is a Uberti copy of Colt Single Action Army and 45 Colt. But that's basically what they developed the cartridge for. The original loading had 40 grains of black powder and a 250 or 55 grain lead projectile. Basically, it looked like this. This is my hand loads. Basically the same kind of bullet, flat point. Some of them are rounded, but that's generally the type of bullet. 250 grains in weight. And with 40 grains of black powder, it did about 1,025 feet a second. The recoil was a bit stiff for the average soldier, so they downloaded it to 30 grains of black powder, and it dropped the velocity to like 850 feet a second, 820 feet a second. And interestingly enough, that became basically the ballistics that John Browning duplicated with the 45 ACP, automatic Colt pistol cartridge. But the Army adopted it, became very popular out west. Not as popular as Winchester's 44 Winchester centerfire, also known as the 4440, because Colt wouldn't allow rifles to be made by other companies in their caliber. So basically just the handguns were available. And fine handgun, widely used in the West. But Winchester had both the Colt Single Action Armies and other various revolvers, chambered 4440, and the 1873 rifles in 4440, and then later on the 1892s. When Colt's patent ran out, then other companies started producing rifles for the cartridge, and it's very popular to this day. 152 years it survived. As a defensive cartridge, large bullet, moderate velocity, has proven effective over 152 years in actual gunfights and battles and other uses. Until the advent of the 357 Magnum in 1935, the 45 Colt had the highest muzzle energy of any handgun cartridge that was in existence. Until the advent of the 357 Magnum, the highest velocity handgun cartridge was the 793 by 25 Mauser for the broom handle Mauser. But the 357 Magnum became the king of both of them categories when it was introduced in 1935. 45 Colt's been used to take game, battles. Became popular in cowboy shooting competition, and that's why I originally obtained this rifle. The ballistics, 452 thousandths of an inch projectile to 454 thousandths, depending on the manufacturer and the make. Very low pressure cartridge because it originated in the black powder area. 14,000 PSI is the max for SAMI. There are modern loadings that are plus P or plus P plus, whatever you want to call them, and they run at about 28,000 PSI, but they're unsafe to be fired in a firearm such as this. This is an Uberti replica. This is a John Wayne replica, actually, that Uberti or Cimarron sells, distressed tea stain grips, the 45 Colt. The plus P ones can't be fired in this, or say the new Ruger Vaqueros. I have an older Ruger Vaquero that you can fire high pressure loads in, but the bullet weights, useful bullet weights range from 150 or 60 grains all the way up to 360 grains, heavy handgun hunting loads. Or you can fire them in a rifle, heavy hunting load with hard cast bullets. The standard or sweet spot for the 45 Colt is 250 to 255 grains. 225 is also popular. In cowboy action shooting, people use the lightest bullet they can for the lightest recoil, because it's a speed shooting game, and that's where the 160s come in play. And most of your shooting is targets at 10, 5, 10, 15 yards away. Occasionally you get 20, 25 yards, but that's the max. You really don't need a heavy bullet to ping the steel, just the noise hitting the steel. In fact, the far more popular caliber, and too often the weeds there in the cowboy action shooting, is the 38 Special, and they made this rifle in 38 Special also. This one's a 45 Colt, and they made them at 45 Colt and 38 Special. The plus P loads, I actually have some high performance hunting loads. These are hand loads. It's got a 300 grain hard cast lead bullet, big wide flat nose with a gas check crimped on the back of the bullet. 23.2 grains H110 Federal Magnum pistol primer. Basically, you're in 44 Magnum territory with this round. Like I said, in my Ruger Vaquero, which I'll fire one round at this over the chronograph and one at a rifle, because I got a limited amount of my hand loads left. I'm gonna put some more together. But I wrote on a box out of the handgun, 4 5/8 inch barrel. It's 1150 feet a second. So that's basically 300 grain slug. That's a lot of power there. Like 800 foot-pounds of energy. That's 44 Magnum territory. So it's a very versatile and useful cartridge. You can't load them pressures in the original Colt Single Action Army. Those loads are only for the Ruger Blackhawk, the old style Ruger Vaquero, which is built on a Blackhawk frame, or the lever guns, which generally rated to about 40,000 PSI, the Marlins. So that's it for the Colt. The inspiration for the very famous 1911 was the ballistics of this. That's what Browning wanted to match, and that's what he did in a semi-auto cartridge, auto pistol cartridge. Obviously, that was designed in the smokeless powder era, and this survived the transition from black powder to smokeless powder. It did get a boost in velocity a little bit with smokeless powder, keeping the pressures the same. The powder is much more efficient. The Marlin lever guns. Marlin's been the original John Marlin company, which basically went defunct in 2006 or 7 when Remington bought them, and then basically destroyed them. It's been resurrected by Ruger. Ruger bought the machinery and stuff out of Remington in bankruptcy, and they're starting to produce the 336 Marlin and the 1894 they just started producing, I believe, in 44 Magnum and 357 Magnum. But the original Marlin lever guns, 1880s, there's several models, predecessors to this one, and then their engineer, I think it's Lewis Hepburn, designed the 1894, and he designed it with a solid top frame receiver. The lever guns in vogue at the time, and all the Winchesters are open top receivers. He thought this design with the enclosed receiver and the ejection port on the side was safer in case a cartridge ruptured in the chamber. Keep the gases from blowing into the shooter's face, and kept the weather out of the action. As a consequence, in 1893, I think he patented the 1894, and it came out. Marlin started producing these in 3 or 4 calibers. They were all Winchester centerfire calibers. The Winchester nomenclature is 44 Winchester centerfire, 38 Winchester centerfire, 32, 25. Basically 25-20 they were called, 32-20, 38-40, and 44-40. And the 40 part refers to the charge of black powder in the cases. They were all black powder cartridges. And some of them survived into the smokeless powder era. The 44-40 is still around to this day, and so is the 38-40 due to the cowboy action shooting. It was built on a smaller frame than the 336. 336 built for rifle cartridges. These were designed for handgun cartridges. Lower power, lower pressure, and they went through several evolutions. When they came out with the Magnum cartridges, 357 and 44 Magnum in the 50s, 357 in the 30s, they redesigned the gun slightly to handle higher pressures, the 1894, because they did build some 336s and 44 Magnum, but then in the 60s, early 70s, they did the engineering changes they had to do to make the gun withstand the 44 Magnum pressures. And they came out to 1894, 44 Magnum, 357 Magnum, 41 Magnum. They built for a while. That's more of a rarity, you know, but the two common ones you run across are 357 and 44 Magnum. With the advent of the popularity of cowboy action shooting in the late 90s, you know, there was a demand for a gun that was tailored to that, and that's why, you know, Marlin came out this about 1999 or 2000, 1894, 20-inch barrel. Bring this close to the camera. It's the receiver is case hardened, Colt case hardened, and so is the lever. Although I have a leather wrap on the lever. They're both Colt case hardened, as was the original guns many years ago. Really attractive in the sunlight. Nice walnut with a special finish they put on for durability. You know, the Marlin black plastic buttstock. 20-inch octagonal barrel, 6.5 pounds it weighs. 10-shot tubular magazine, full-length magazine. That's the octagonal barrel. It's the front sight up there. Really, really nice. Inscribed, you know, obviously this is a JM gun. I think I got this in 2000. You know, JM stamped on the left side of the barrel near the receiver. It says 1894 Cowboy Competition, model 1894 CBC 45 caliber Colt. Marlin Firearms, North Haven, Connecticut. And with this model, they made it in 2 calibers, 38 and 45, 38 special and 45 45 Colt, and they slicked the action up. So very, very fast and smooth action. The trigger pull is about, there's no safety neither, no crossbolt safety in these. It's got a saddle ring carbine, if you will. And the octagonal barrels, you know, popular from the 19th century. The whole gun's a throwback to the late 19th century there. The trigger, it breaks at about 4.5 pounds. I've pulled it before. I didn't bring my trigger gauge down for this intro, but you know, it's got a little slack here in the front and breaks clean. And it's really a pleasure to cycle. It cycles fast. Got buckhorn sight, rear sight, elevation ramp, big high front sight. This is not drilled and tapped for any type of scope because it's a cowboy competition gun. Some of the other ones, I think they had a other variant that was the cowboy, and it was drilled and tapped, but this is not. This not really supposed to be. You know, close range cowboy action gun. I mostly shot at cowboy action shooting. I didn't shoot long range with it. So in the tests, when I do them, I'm going to do a 100-yard test, shoot at a 100-yard target. I'll use these two ammunitions here. I have my hand loads. For the hand loaders here, 250 grain lead flat nose, 8.1 grains of unique. It's about 900 feet a second. 1,000 out of rifle, maybe 880 out of handgun. 250 grain. I get some of this factory stuff. Ammo Incorporated. It's a 250 grain full metal jacket. Let's see. Basically looks like a lead bullet, just a metal jacket on it. The Colt ammo, one downside is very expensive. I'm talking $50, $60 for a box of 50, over a buck a shot. That's why I hand load. I'm gonna shoot only one of these 300 grainers, hand loads, out of my handgun, my Ruger old Vaccaro, and out of this rifle. Just one shot a piece across the chronograph. I know what it does because I've shot it in the past when I was developing this load, but when I do a thermal effects test, I'm real curious how this will perform on my thermal effects target, which is, if anybody hasn't seen the videos, all the other videos before, it's 6 inches of water, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, simulating heavy bone, another 6 inches of water, jugs. With this heavy penetrating load, I'll put another 3/4 inch piece of plywood behind the second jug, third jug of water, more 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and maybe a fourth jug, and hopefully I can recover the projectile. But I expect it to fully blow through one or maybe two of the plywoods and 2 or 3 jugs of water, because it's a pretty potent round. You actually use that on bear. I mean, it's the bullet ain't got the form. It's meant for big game, and you get a boost in velocity when you fire it out of a rifle barrel. Generally, with the lower pressure, cowboy loads, I'll gain about 100 to sometimes 175 feet a second from the handgun to the rifle, and a lot more than that with the higher pressure loads. So, like I said, that they didn't produce many 1894s and 45 Colt, especially the cowboy ones. Most of the 1894s you're running across, and you use Margaret 44 Magnum, 357 Magnum. There was some 45 Colts, blue receivers, drilled and tapped for a scope in 45 Colt. I think they were 1894 CB was the model. Marlin had a bunch of different models. Great company for well over 100 years. I'm glad Ruger, took them and is making a quality product now and putting the rifles out. They're a lot of fun, these lever guns. Went over that. I'm gonna, at the very end of this intro, I'm just gonna pull the gun apart real quick. What's good about the Marlins, the bolt comes out of the back of the receiver. You're gonna have to take the screw out of the lever. The lever comes out the bottom, the bolt comes out the back, and you can clean the gun from the breech. In the very cold parts of North America, Canada, Alaska, up in the Northwest there, when these come out, they gain popularity because the action's basically enclosed, and if you're out in freezing rain or snow with a Winchester 1892 or Winchester 1894, the entire action's open, and the cartridges eject out the top. And in that inclement weather, freezing rain, you wind up with the gun getting ice in it and freezing up and not cycling, not working. You don't want that if you run across a bear or something. Some critter, a wolf, some critter's gonna take a chunk out of you. But that's why these are always popular. Millions were made over its lifetime, and it's good to see that they're coming back. When I shoot the handgun, like I said, it'll be the Vaccaro with the high pressure load. It's an old Vaccaro. If I shot this load in this gun or a Colt Single Action Army, destroy the gun. probably you might even get hurt. They blow the whole gun up. So you know, the cylinders walls are much thinner, and the frames are much smaller, and it's actually nicely balanced. It's easy, a lot lighter than the old Vaquero I got. Is, you know, it's scaled up. It's bigger than this, but with the beefiness, it can handle the heavy loads. I'll do chronograph, all 3 loads. I'll do accuracy, 100 yards. If I can't, you know, dial it in, because I haven't shot this gun beyond really 25 or 30 yards. I'm curious myself. Shoot off a rest, and then I'll do the comparative energy on the plates. Since this is a pistol cartridge, I'm going to use a 22 rifle. You know, ballistic pendulums impart the energy. At the same time, you can see the comparative recoil. This gun really, with regular Colt loads, really does not recoil much at all. It's very pleasant to shoot. And with light loads, it's extremely pleasant to shoot. I'll shoot some steel plates offhand at various ranges. To the terminal effects test, the heavy load, I'll do the chronograph, and I might be forgetting something in there. Whatever I forget, I'll bring it back in the summary. But I'll go to the shooting tests now. Yeah, I forgot all about pulling this out. For folks that haven't seen how to take them all apart, they're real simple. Cock the hammer, obviously make sure the gun's unloaded. Just this screw here, use a gunsmith screwdriver. This is what happens when you yammer on, you forget what you're doing. Take the screw out of the lever. Right, there we go. Screw comes out. Get over there. Lever comes out straight out the bottom. And the bolt comes straight out the back. And you can clean the gun from the breech. And it goes back together the exact same way. The bolt is dirty because I was shooting and I don't feel like handling it on the film, but the gun goes back the same way. Slide the bolt in halfway, lever goes in the bottom. And you know what? I'll do it anyway. About like that. And then get the lever in like so. Put the screw in. And I do the screwdriver. Take my glasses off. Just screw the screw back in. Just snug it, you don't have to go crazy with it. And that's it. That's all it is. All Marlins, the 336 and the 92 comes apart like that. The 336 has a totally enclosed side bolt, side of the receiver, and the bolt's just round that comes out the back. This, the action is open. This part of the receiver is all milled, one milled slot, and the square bolt takes up the right side of the receiver. All right, on to these shooting demos. Okay, I'm gonna do chronograph with our 45 Colt, primarily out of the rifle. That's what the video's about. But I'm gonna fire it out of a handgun too. All 3 ammos that I'm gonna use. I have some hand loads. They're I've clocked them before, 850 feet a second out of a handgun. 250 grain lead flat nose. 8.1 grains of unique. Looks like that. I'm gonna fire 2 out of the pistol. I'll switch the string, fire 2 out of the rifle. Then I'm gonna go to this factory ammo. It's 250 grain ammo incorporated, 250 grain full metal jacket, flat point. And last up is one of my hot hand loads. It's actually a hunting hand load. It's a 300 grain hard cast with a gas check on it. Max loading. It's 23 grains H110. I'm going to fire it both out of the pistol and the rifle. Only one shot apiece because I got a limited amount of that. The pistol is a Ruger Old Vaquero. It's got a much heavier frame than the modern re-reductions. This load in a modern reproduction or Birdie or Colt Single Action Army would destroy the gun. But not with the old Ruger. So I'm going to do that first. Set the other camera running on the chronograph. And I'll take the shots. The first two with the pistol with my hand loads. We'll record the velocity. This is my 4 5/8" barrel Ruger Old Vaquero. Single action. Uh, 902 feet a second. And 898. It's already loaded with the other two, the factory full metal jackets. I'm going to do the rifle next. We'll leave it be. It's a little clunky to set up. I'm just going to keep it in order. I'm going to do the pistol again with the factory loaded ammo incorporated, and I'll just dissect it on the summary. Next up is a full metal jacket, 250 grain. .821. And .823. The next four I'm going to do out of the rifle. I only have two in here. The hand loads, 250 grain lead flat nose, 8.1 grains of unique. And my 1894 Marlin Cowboy Competition. Stick them in there. 1007. 1024. Let me put the two ammo incorporated rounds in there. All right, this is the 250 full metal jacket, factory load. 1003. 969. Last up is going to be my plus P loading that is not safe for anything that's not either a rifle, a Marlin rifle, or old Vaquero, old style Ruger Vaquero. The new Alright, 300 grain hard cast lead. It's like 20 on the Brunel scale. It's got a gas check. One shot. Okay, I'm on camera here. $1,084. That's like in 44 Magnum territory. And now I'm going to repeat with the Marlin and see how much more velocity we get out of a 20-inch barrel. $15.11. So that's zipping along there. And that case has seen better days. It's split, but that's been reloaded a few times. crunch the numbers in a summary, but that'll be our velocity comparison. The 300 grain hard cast hand loads, Corban makes a heavy hunting hand load. I think it's hand load. 335 grain hard cast round, doing I think almost 1100 out of the handgun, similar to that, but that bullet's 35 grains less. So when I do a terminal effects test with the 45 Colt out of the Marlin, I'm going to use the 300 grain hunting hand load, and see what we see what we're able to capture or witness. So, but on to the next item. .902 feet a second. And 821. And 823. In there. 1007. 1024. We put the two ammo incorporated rounds in there. All right, this is the 250 full metal jacket factory load. 1003. 969. Last up is going to be my plus P loading that is not safe for anything. It's not either a rifle, a Marlin rifle, or 1084. It's like a 44 Magnum territory. Now I'm going to repeat with the Marlin. See how much more velocity we get in a 20-inch barrel. 1511. So that's it's zipping along there. Okay, gonna do my ballistic pendulum test. The seeing this is a pistol cartridge, a 45 Colt. Be using my hand loads, 250 grain lead flat nose at about 900 feet a second. Versus, since it's a pistol cartridge, I'm not going to shoot a 223 against it, but this Marlin 795 22 rifle, 2 shots, 40 grain Winchester. I'm going to do it on extreme left plate with the 22, and the center plate will be the 45 Colt. And at the same time, it'll be a comparative recoil test. I don't expect any recoil from this at all, 22. And it's very moderate recoil with the 45. So I'm going to put 2 rounds in the Colt and a Marlin. Okay, first up is the 22 extreme right plate. And put my ears on. Colt center plate. And quite a bit more energy as one would expect. That'll be the ballistic pendulum test. Just going to try and be judicious and collect my brass here. One under the leaves. I got to look for it. All right, on to the next item. Colt center plate. Okay, since I'm out here, I'm gonna turn this camera. I get the other one running too. I'm just gonna shoot at some of the plates offhand. I'm say 25 to about 85 yards down there. Just to show the rifle in operation. And the other camera's running. I don't know if it'll pick all the plates up, but oh. Yeah. Forgot I had that one in there. All right, do the round ones here. The torso at 50. Try the 85-yard square plate on the left. Just underneath. Missed it again. There we go. That was on me. A few more. We'll try the 100 down there. There we go, 100 yard. What else can we shoot? Pepper popper. 45 really smacks it. And torso again. That one makes a nice ring. That'll be my little offhand shooting demo with this very fine JM Marlin Cowboy Competition. Nice color case hardened frame. And no safety. So, saddle ring. On to the next demo. Do the round ones here. Torso at 50. Try the 85-yard square plate on the left. That was on me. A few more. Try the 100 down there. There we go, 100 yard. What else can we shoot? Pepper popper. 45 really smacks it. And torso again. Okay, terminal effects target for the 45 Colt 300 grain hard cast plus P load. It's doing 1550 out of the rifle, the 20-inch rifle barrel. It's about 20 Brunel hard cast lead, 18 or 20 I forget. It's got a copper gas check on the base. I set this up like I would for a high power rifle to try and capture it. 6 inches of water, fresh piece of plywood, 3/4 inch, 6 inches of water, another fresh piece of plywood unshot, 3/4 inch, third jug of water, 2 more pieces of plywood, another jug of water, 2 more pieces of plywood, just to see if we can capture it. And I was going to put a 5th jug of water out here, but it's freezing. So let me bring this over to where I'm going to shoot. Let me pause this. Bring it over. Okay. One in the magazine. And I'm going to bring this in closer. Take them in there. Oh, pretty dramatic. Okay, let me pause this and we'll do the autopsy. Pretty dramatic. That would shoot lengthwise through an elk. I only recovered the gas check, but impressive penetration. First jug went in here, vaporized the jug. First piece of fresh 3/4 inch ply went in there, come out there. Second jug went in there, blew the jug apart. Second piece of 3/4 inch ply. Went in there, exited there. That's impressive. Third jug, I can't make out. I think it entered there. It split out the back. It started veering off to the left. Punched through the third sheet of plywood. I'm pretty sure the whole projectile, or most of it, went through there. And the wood's blown out. It clipped the fourth jug and emptied it. And the only thing that was in the third jug was the gas check. The base of the bullet. That's it, that little piece of copper. That's crimped on the back of the bullet, back of the projectile, prevent the gases from cutting the lead and leading the barrel up. That was in jug number 3. So that went through 3/4 inch piece of plywood and basically 4 jugs of water. So that's a lot of straight line penetration from a pistol caliber carbine. You could you shoot a big bear with that. You go straight through them. That I'd be pretty sure of. I believe the Corbon over-the-counter stuff, 330 grain, 35 grain hard cast lead, would perform exactly as that 300 grain did. So that's it for my little thermal effects test on my 300 grain plus P loaded hard cast 45 Colt. So on to the next item. Okay, I'm gonna do a 100-yard accuracy test. I got a IDPA target. I shot it before, but it's covered with 2 paper bullseyes. The top one I'm gonna shoot my hand load. 250 grain lead flat nose, 8.1 grains of unique. Believe it or not, I got Wolf primers in them. I had some of them left over. You couldn't get primers. The gun's already loaded. And then second up is this factory at the bottom circle. The factory 250 grain full metal jacket, a total metal case, ammo incorporated. I'll do 5 of them. They basically look like the lead bullet, except they're metal cased. So, you know what, I'll shoot off the wobbly log. Alright, this will be the top target. The other camera's running down at the 100. And last of the 5. Okay. I'm going to reload with the full metal jacket, shoot at the bottom target. Reality, the front sight covers up most of the target, the bullseye. So I'll try and hit the bottom one with these. Okay, let me go down and retrieve that. If it was all over the place, it'd probably be me. And then I'll set a target over 50 yards because old eyes. But Okay, all the shots, there's only 2 on the paper, but they were to the left by about 4 or 5 inches of the bull. So I'm going to redo it with 3 and 3. The first 3 will be the full metal jacket. I'll shoot the bottom target. I'm going to hold to the right Kentucky windage and see if they're on the paper. Because I generally don't shoot this rifle beyond 25 yards. So before I start tinkering with the windage, let me see if it's me or the load. These are the full metal jacket ammo incorporated. Bottom. Shot. Okay. I'm going to do 3 at the upper target, holding to the right like I just did with this factory ammo. The 2 shots that were on the paper, they're only about 2 inches apart. So these are the hand loads. Pause this, I'll go down 100 yards and look. Okay, 5 out of 6 hits were on the paper. The factory ammo, I was aiming like here. It seemed to come over. I got 2 hits here, but I was aiming over here with my hand loads. So I'm gonna have to look at the video and see where my hand loads were hitting. But I'm gonna repeat another 6 shots. I got a 50-yard target, just 1 bullseye. I'm gonna center hold it and see where at 6 o'clock hold on a bullseye and see where the shots go. The first 3 will be my hand loads. The last 3 will be the factory loads, and I'll have to review to see what's hitting what. But do that 1 more, and that'll wrap up our shooting accuracy demo with a little carbine here. Okay. The other camera's running down there on the target. 6 o'clock hold. Two different ammos, two different points of impact, and there's actually two different velocities of these ammos and projectiles. So there's a lot of variables there. This is the last of the hand loads. And now the factory full metal jacket. And the last shot. And go down to 50 and pull that down. And pause this. Okay, interesting result. I have to review the footage to see what was what. I was using a 6 o'clock hold, so they're all a little over here, just a hair to the left. There's 5 hits here, there's one up here. And you clearly see the bullets going sideways through the paper. So, it's clearly ammunition issue. I believe the factory full metal jackets were printing okay off to the left, but whatever ammo I was going to use this, and I wouldn't be shooting this at 100 yards unless I was in some type of competition. Like I said, when I use these cowboy loads, I get the cheapest components I can, and I don't know where the projectiles came from, but there might be something wrong with them, and you get all kind of flyers. But I'll look at the video, I'll cover that in a summary. But I got that's the 2 targets. So it's a good little carbine, fully capable. This one here is just an iron sights only, you know. Could you hunt deer with this? Absolutely. 50, if you have your gun dialed in with the ammo you're going to use, 50 or 100 yard shots, absolutely. No provisions, obviously, because it's a cowboy gun for any type of scope mounting. But it wasn't designed for that. It's designed for close range cowboy shooting. Which generally the longest targets are 25 yards at most. A lot of them a lot closer, 10, 15 yards. So the cheap components really don't matter because they're not really in play. Even if the bullet's flying sideways at 10 yards, still hits the steel plate and scores. So I believe that'll wrap it for the shooting. Ammo's expensive. Going for the summary, I'll figure all this out after I review the other footage on the other camera. Okay, back for my summary here with our little shooting demo and history of the Marlin 1894 Cowboy Competition and the 45 Colt cartridge. Did the chronograph first. With the pistol, I used the Ruger Old Vaquero because I shot the 2 lower pressure loads and 1 high pressure load, the heavy hunting load. So the numbers for the pistol were my hand load, 250 grain lead flat point, 900 feet per second, 450 foot-pounds of energy. The 250 grain FMJ factory load, ammo incorporated, this stuff, Basically it's the same as mine, only it's a jacketed bullet. 822 feet a second for the 2 shots and 375 foot-pounds of energy. And then the 300 grain heavy hand hunting load, hard cast wide flat point bullet. Out of the handgun, 1,084 feet per second, 783 foot-pounds of energy, and that's 44 Magnum pistol territory. And that's out of a 4 5/8 inch barrel. The rifle, 250 grain my hand load. Velocity bumps up 115 feet a second to 1,015, and the energy is 572 foot-pounds. The rifle, the 250 factory load FMJ, 986, that's 540 foot-pounds. And then the heavy handgun, the heavy hunting load, I should say, 1,511 feet per second and 1,520 foot-pounds energy, and that's pretty substantial, over 400 foot per second increase over the pistol. And that's the figures. I'll leave that up there for a second. And that's what we got on the chronograph. Did the ballistic pendulums. Since this is a handgun or pistol cartridge, I use a 22 rifle. I'm not going to use a 223. It's, it's a different category. Ballistic pendulums, 22. Just kiss the plate, and then obviously the 45. And these are more or less cowboy loads, maybe a little bit heavier. Smack the plate pretty good. Did some offhand shooting at the plates, various distances, 25 to 100. Pinged them. I think I missed a couple at the 85 or whatever, just to show the gun in action. And it's basically just a fast handling little carbine, suitable for competition, suitable for hunting, and also suitable for home defense. Make very effective weapon in that role. Did the 100-yard accuracy test. I put a target up, 2 targets, 2 aiming points, bullseyes on a IDPA target, 100 yards, fired off the bench. I had a look at the video. My hand loads were shooting way low, a foot or more low, and to the left. And I suspect I had a couple of flyers because when I went to the 50-yard, I had a bullet going sideways through the target. But all the loads, including the factory loads I fired 5 and 5 in the first string. They went, I get the target here. I believe these 2 were my hand loads on the first string. And then I missed all 5 on the for all 5. 10 shots. These are only 2 on paper. All right, and I was aiming my hand loads at this aiming point and the factory at that aiming point. They were printing off. When I looked at the video, it looks like they were shooting off way off to the left and low. You can see splashes underneath. So even aiming up here, they were going under. So I redid it with 3 and 3, and I think these 3 were my hand loads. And these 2 were the factory. I was aiming over here. They still were way off, and they were low. Because even though I aimed 6 o'clock here with my hand loads, they're way down here. Over a foot low. So, like I said, I really haven't shot that gun beyond 25, 30 yards, plinking around. And if I was to develop it for, a load just for, out to 100 yards, it would be one specific hand load, and I would set the sights or, adjust them for, and the elevation on this ramp is almost all the way up. Got one more notch, so whatever load I would develop, it would have to be for, specific. Shooting, cowboy shooting with this thing, 10, 15, 25 yards, it really doesn't matter. In the 50 yard, I was aiming at the 6 o'clock point here, and they were less, they're pretty much centered, but the hand loads in the factory all here. This was my hand load, this one here. And if you look at way off from the rest of them, and it's going sideways through the paper. So obviously these projectiles do not maybe missized for this bore. And what I forgot to say in the introduction is you get Colt 452 thousandths to 454 thousandths, and every barrel is different. I haven't never slugged this barrel to get the rifling twist down or the actual landing groove dimensions. I'm going to do that one of these days. Basically, you push a soft chunk of lead, and they have this through the bore that fits tightly, and you can read the landing grooves and measure them. But the rifling twist in this might be 1 in 16 or 1 in 38. I get two different figures from two different sources with this ballad rifling. So until I slug the gun or run a real tight patch and mark a cleaning rod and find out what rifling pitch it is. If it's 1 in 38, yeah, I can see it not stabilizing some of the projectiles, and that's what happens when you get rounds going sideways. But that was interesting. At first I thought it was me. It's basically ammo, and just said my old eyes can still see the iron sights, but not as good as they once could. Did that offhand plates. Did the terminal effects test. That was pretty interesting. Used this 300 grain hunting hand load, 6 inches of water, simulates different mediums than say a human adversary or game animal. 3/4 inch piece of plywood, heavy bone, another jug of water, 6 inches, another 3/4 inch piece of plywood. I do that with the rifles to try and capture the projectile. Another jug of water, 6 inches, that's 18 inches of water. Another 3/4 inch sheet of plywood, and another jug behind it. Pretty good, almost straight line penetration. Blew the first jug to shred it, blew it apart. Punched right through the first 3/4 inch piece of plywood. Blew up the second jug. Went through the second 3/4 inch piece of plywood. That's with a handgun round. I know it's fired out of a rifle, but went through the third jug. Went through the third piece of 3/4 inch plywood. I started veering off to the left. It clipped the fourth jug and sliced the side of it, and I lost it in the woods. In the third jug, there was the gas check that was on the back of this bullet. I think I showed it in the video. I lost it here somewhere, but basically it's a copper base that's crimped onto the back of the bullet, and that prevents, the higher pressure rounds or higher velocity rounds from the gas cutting the bullet or the bullet lead in the barrel. So that would make a very good hunting round. Elk, say 50 to 100 yards tops. Elk, bear, you're in the 44 Magnum territory basically, both shooting it out of the pistol and out of the rifle. Factory loads, I think double tap makes a 360 grain heavy hard cast projectile, heavy hunt load, 1,050 feet a second or something in that neighborhood. Corban has a 335 grain hard cast, basically doing similar velocity to this, but a little heavier projectile. If you're not a hand loader, you could buy them. Very effective. If you're out in the woods, backpacking, and you happen to have this rifle with you, or even a handgun with that load, it'd be pretty good bear medicine. Good straight line, deep penetrating load that breaks bones, and that's what that all 3/4 inch sheets of plywood would equate to, bones. what can I say? The Marlins are very fine rifles. I have several of them. This one is really pretty good, and I oil it up. Actually needs a cleaning from firing it. But the color case hardening is very nice. The heavy octagonal barrel is just a very attractive gun. If you run across one of these and you're looking for one of these, they're real nice guns. Marlin made fine rifles for well over a century. The Wall Street guys ruined poor Marlin, and unfortunately Ruger's bringing it back. What else do we? Yeah, I think that's about it. I've wrapped this video up because they all start running very long. I have nothing but fine praise for this rifle. A lot of fun to shoot. Very, very, very smooth action. Smoother than my 44 Magnum. And they did work that on the cowboy guns. If you like the content, like and subscribe. That's all I have today for this. I'll wrap this video up on our very fine Colt 45 Colt cartridge and the 1894 Marlin Cowboy Competition rifle. And I'm Old Gun Guy, and have a good night.